Welcome back to Sports Sunday. Of course, the footy might be back in Melbourne, but no Grand Prix this month. Instead, rescheduled to November later this year. Regardless, though, the Formula One season does get underway this week in Bahrain, and one man that will be there in commentary duties for Channel 4 is Australian Formula One great Mark Webber, and he joins us here on Sports Sunday. Great to see you, Mark.
Hey guys, good morning.
Now, we're just fresh off the tennis here at 9, and it was a logistical nightmare just to try and have one event held in Melbourne with all these international superstars. How on earth does an entire Formula One championship globally get put together?
Yeah, well, they did a great job last year, mate. I mean, I'm a sports tragic, I must say. I love watching lots of different sports, but I was very proud of our sport last year to have 17 events in a very challenging time, of course, with the health situation around the world. So they did a brilliant job. You know, we've got hundreds and hundreds of tons of freight. We've got, as you say, different teams based in different countries. The virus was never really synced in certain locations, so it was pretty challenging, but they did an awesome job. Formula One is very disciplined. We had the best testing probably, I think, in the world at any sport. There was certainly some, I did experience some gold standard, I must say. I've experienced a lot of countries last year. I had 40 COVID tests, and it was very interesting to see how we got amongst it. And the sport did really, really well to get through it.
Mark, congratulations on your career. I'm interested, when you were a little boy, that you were a ball boy for the Canberra Raiders. Was that in the days of Mal Meninga or Ricky Stewart? Who was there? And I also note that you've credited David Campese, a rugby union staff, for being kind to you early.
Yeah, that's right, John. Yeah, I had... That's right. There I am with Mal. Not a bad team, that one, is it? Bradley Clyde and Ricky Stewart and Daly and all the boys. Yeah, most of the Australian team in some of those squads back then. So it was it was good for me. I think they were very clever, mate, using older ball boys, because we had a few tricks up our sleeve where we'd keep a run on play and do the big giant forward pass onto Glenn Lazarus on the burst. So no, it was all good fun, mate. And Camper was brilliant to me in '97 when I was struggling financially, and he supported me when I was on the ropes. So yeah, it was. You know, football is very close to my heart, league and union. So, yeah, they were good times.
Mark, you've made Fitzy very happy to hear that. I want to ask you about motor racing pre and post-COVID. You know, you're working at these Grand Prix. What's the difference that you see between the events as they are now? Because pre-COVID, they were circuses, weren't they? They were massive events. What are they like now?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you know, we had obviously hundreds of thousands of people, well, 100,000 probably the British Grand Prix, the normal Grand Prix. So, as you know, in Europe, it's a religion, and we have one of the best events in the world here in Australia as well. So that didn't happen, as we know, for both years now on the bounce in March. So, look, they're getting around it, Liz. Obviously, no spectators, no corporate hospitality. The events, sometimes we double up. We stay at the same venue for 2 weekends in a row, which makes sense. Their teams are in very strict bubbles when they travel, and you can't really sort of mix within the bubbles to make sure that, you know, the cases are kept relatively low. Of course, they are living with the virus. Of course, you know, it's an eradication mentality here in Australia. Obviously, they can't have that. They don't have the luxury of doing that. They're doing their best to live with the virus and keep the sport going. So it's a very different theatre to be played out in terms of how we're getting the work done, whether you're a competitor, whether you're in the TV space, whether whatever you're doing. But it's been impressive. They roll their sleeves up, and we've got to go again. It still looks pretty tricky over there at the moment, and they're going to tackle it head on.
Mark, we really appreciate you coming on Sports Sunday. Big week ahead, and obviously a huge year for you too. All the best with it.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Australian Formula One champion Mark Webber joining us here on Sports Sunday. I love that pick of him back in the day.
Yeah, so do I. You know who else was a ball boy for the Raiders?
Who's that?
Oh, no, not for the Raiders, but as a ball boy for rugby league was Ricky Stewart. And his dad used to come on and they'd toss the coin and Ricky would grab it, put it in his pocket.
Too good.